Bob, your comments on tonight's performance?
Well, first off, it's important to start the year off with a win. So when you're in a long camp, 3 weeks, a lot of work, the challenge of getting guys fit, it's nice at the end to have the reward of winning. From a coaching standpoint, there's always going to be things in this game, this time of year, that you feel good about, and there's always going to be things that need improvement. So I think that part is very clear. We got a number of guys, their first games with the national team, something that I think we want to continue to do in terms of building our pool. So, in that regard, it's a good feeling. Nice to see Sasha get some goals. I think that he's worked hard in this camp, took a little break in the middle, but came back strong, and that was important for us tonight. I'd also mention Danny Califf and Brian Ching in terms of just guys in this camp that have been leaders throughout, and Brian does a lot of dirty work on the field, did a great job in terms of holding the ball and setting Sasha up for the third goal, which came at an important time. So I'd mention those players as well.
Been in this camp for 3 weeks now, and obviously we put in a lot of work. I did for the first 2 weeks, so I was very happy to come back and especially play in Home Depot in front of my friends and family. So it was a good game overall. I think we didn't do as good as we should have when picking up second balls, coming off the backs or off the forwards, but I think in other ways we did some pretty good things, and I'm happy we can start the year with a result, with a win, and move forward.
I thought that the first half defensively we were pretty solid, and the positioning of the group was good. Danny Califf's always a player who's good in the air. That's an area where Michael Parker still has to improve, but the first half, I think, in that regard for him was quite good. Second half shows that there's still work to be done because I think both Marvell and Johnny got a little bit tired. When they got tired, their positioning was not as good, and it's still. In Michael Parker's case, he's obviously joined a new team in Denmark. He came in for this camp late for us, and I think fitness is probably still a little bit of an issue there as well. So second half not as good, but pleased with the way things went early on, and nice to see some of the young guys making progress. I mean, Marvell is a good example. First half in terms of his positioning, how gifted he is in terms of his speed and recovering when he needs to, and so I thought that was a good half for him.
Getting a hat trick is pretty exciting for me. I've never scored more than one goal as a professional in one game before, so that's pretty exciting. More exciting to get the win, and glad we held on in the end. Like I said earlier, it's just exciting for me because it's here at Home Depot in front of my friends and family, and I have a lot of friends and family that come to every game and support me.
How do you feel physically after returning from
I felt good. I slept on the flight home, and then my body adjusted real well. I think it's always easier coming back. I slept 9 hours both nights that I was back, so that was good. And I talked to Pierre about getting a jogger, trying to make my body feel better, but he said just rest and be ready for training. And I think it helped that the training yesterday was later in the afternoon in the stadium, so that helped. And I felt fine at training, and I felt fine tonight. I was glad I could go 90 minutes. I've always, prided myself on being fit, and I think I worked hard in the first 2 weeks of camp to stay really fit in the fitness, and that helps going 90 minutes. As far as the training went over there, it was good. It's a different style, but I enjoyed my time over there, and everything was real professional.
In the last stretch of games, Sasha has grown in the national team. I think that's obvious. If you look at, in particular, the home wins against Trinidad and then Cuba, I think he played well in those games, and we felt that as a team we played well. And we continue to challenge him in every camp. He knows, because he hears it from our coaching staff, and I think he's heard it from the Chivas coaching staff, the areas where he has to improve still, in terms of consistency, in terms of at times his reactions when the ball turns over, little things that make a difference. but certainly we know that he's a guy that's a strong candidate always to be on the field now, and whether we choose for him to be a starter or whether we choose for him to be a reserve, I think he also understands and respects the fact that when you build a team, that's all part of it. So it's nice to see the maturity. Again, with all these guys, there's a ways to go. You know, one of the things that probably I do as a coach is to remind them all the time that you can't get carried away with things that people say, what your friends say, what your agent says, what in some cases the media writes, because there's a reality about the game. All right, there's always an understanding of what hard games are all about, what you need to do in order to become a player who's going to play at the highest level and play in hard games and be a guy who helps your team win. And so we'll never lose sight of that.